In this presentation, we will introduce NatureServe's conservation status assessments, review the process of completing an assessment, and then discuss the factors of rarity, threats, and trends that are considered during a conservation status assessment. NatureServe unites a network of over 60 member programs and 1,000 conservation professionals through shared methods for data collection, data management, and data interpretation. This data is stored in a centralized database of over 1.3 million occurrence records that are used to assess extinction risk of over 100,000 species and 7,000 ecosystems. Here are the organizations that comprise the NatureServe Network, representing nearly every state, province, and territory in the US and Canada. Now let's jump into the background for our training session today. What is the Conservation Status Assessment? It's an evaluation of potential risk of species extinction or extirpation or risk of ecosystem collapse, considering elements of rarity, threats, and trends at a global or regional scale. Conservation status assessments are based on standardized scientific and empirical methodology, which are described in two guidance documents. The rank calculator tool automates the process, facilitates the accurate application of the methodology, provides transparency, and is freely available to anyone, but does require Microsoft Excel to operate. The two guidance documents in the rank calculator tool are available for download at natureserve.org. The rank calculator functionality is now built into Biotics for both subnational and global ranking. The conservation status assessment results in a relative rank that describes the geographic scale and extinction risk of the species, or elimination risk of the ecosystem assessed. A letter prefix indicates the geographic scale, G for global, N for national, or S for subnational. The number, on a scale of 1 to 5, indicates extinction risk for the geographic scope indicated. 1 is the highest extinction risk category, and 5 is the lowest extinction risk category, indicating a species is secure. Here we see a simplified spectrum of the numerical ranks at each geographic scale. The status assessment rank is called a global rank, national rank, or subnational rank, or for short, G rank, N rank, or S rank. Let's take a look at the definition of each of these numerical ranks demonstrated at the global level. G1, G2, and G3 species and ecosystems are considered at risk, with G1 indicating the highest risk. G1, or critically imperiled, means there is a very high risk of extinction or elimination due to a very restricted range, extreme rarity with typically 5 or fewer occurrences, very steep declines, or very severe threats. The Vermont killwort is currently ranked G1. It is extremely rare, with only one known occurrence in the Green Mountains of Vermont. The single pond where it occurs is a backup water source for a nearby town. G2, or imperiled species and ecosystems, have a high risk of extinction or elimination. They often have a very restricted range, very few populations or occurrences, or steep declines. The crestar sootywing, a small skipper, is considered imperiled. It occurs in 2 counties in California. There are approximately 16 occurrences that are threatened by habitat loss due to development and agriculture activities, as well as warming and precipitation changes due to climate change. G3, or vulnerable, we're going to first look at an ecosystem type, the Great Lakes albar. The Great Lakes albar is an open grassland or shrubland with very shallow soils on glacially scraped limestone or dolostone bedrock. It has a restricted range within the Great Lakes Basin and multiple threats, including cattle grazing, quarry development, invasive plants, and vehicle disturbances to the soil. Declines in this ecosystem are moderate, about 30% over the past 50 years. For an example of a G3 plant, which is vulnerable, these are at moderate risk of extinction due to a fairly restricted range, relatively few occurrences, recent and widespread declines or threats. An example is the swamp pink, a plant of forested wetlands in the eastern United States. The species has narrow requirements, perennially water-saturated forested wetlands, with a low frequency of inundation. Most of the species' habitat is highly threatened by degradation. Although there are over 200 extant occurrences, many are in decline and highly threatened. Furthermore, this species has limited seed dispersal abilities and poor seedling establishment. G4 and G5 species in ecosystems are not at risk currently. G4, or apparently secure, indicates a fairly low risk of extinction due to an extensive range and/or many populations or occurrences, but with possible cause for some concern as a result of recent and local declines, threats, or other factors. The wavy rayed lamp mussel is ranked G4. This mussel has a wide distribution from southern Ontario through the southeastern United States, with at least 440 occurrences across the Great Lake region, Ohio-Mississippi drainage, and Tennessee River system. It has declined slightly over the long term, but with short-term declines in some areas. It is affected by multiple threats. The final numerical rank is G5, or secure, which indicates a very low risk of extinction due to an extensive range, abundant populations or occurrences, and little to no concern from declines or threats. The hooded merganser is a small duck with a very large geographic range. It has a stable trend and low threats globally, and therefore it is believed to be secure. Now that we have been introduced to the ranks and their definitions, let's look closer at how conservation status ranks are coordinated across geographic scales of assessment. Keep in mind that for any species or ecosystem, there is one global rank, but there could be multiple national or subnational assessments depending on its geographic range. Let's look at a state endemic. Because the species only occurs in one state, California, the subnational, national, and global ranks are the same. The state endemic is ranked S2, therefore the national rank is N2, and the global rank is G2. Let's look at species that occurs in more than one state. In this example, the subnational ranks are S1, or critically imperiled in Wyoming, and S3, S4 in Colorado. So the national rank is N3, N4, and the global rank is G3, G4. Aside from state endemics, the global rank summarizes the conservation status across a larger geographic area than the subnation. The global rank is equal to or has a lower extinction risk than the subnational ranks. The same applies to national ranks when it summarizes multiple subnational ranks. In addition to the numerical scale of 1 to 5, there are additional ranks that describe other circumstances. An X indicates a species or ecosystem is extinct or regionally extirpated, and an H indicates possible extinction, meaning it is only known from historical occurrences. A U indicates a species or ecosystem is unrankable due to lack of information or a significant conflict about its status or trend. The letters NA indicate that a species or ecosystem is not suitable target for conservation activities. For example, a hybrid without conservation value, or an ecosystem of domestic origin, like developed vegetation of lawns and gardens. In addition, ranks can express some uncertainty with a rank qualifier, like a question mark after the numerical rank, or through range ranks like G2, G3, N1, N3, or S1, S3. The question mark and then range ranks indicate increasing levels of uncertainty in the data or information about rarity, threats, and trends that support the assessment. Rank qualifiers can also describe species with questionable taxonomy by the addition of a Q at the end of the global rank. The addition of a C on an X or H rank indicates a species is extinct or possibly extinct in the wild, but found in captivity or cultivation. Now that we have a basic understanding of the conservation status assessments and ranks, let's look at why they are important. The conservation status assessment and status ranks are tools to make better decisions, prioritize actions, and monitor trends. The ranks of plants, animals, and ecosystems provide a scientifically based approach to identifying the most at-risk taxa and ecosystems at multiple geographic scales, including the scales that legal listing is implemented. For planners, land managers, and land management agencies, understanding the relative rarity of species and ecosystems on their land compared to the overall rarity of these elements can help prioritize conservation decisions and actions and inform land management plans. In addition, assessments guide states and provinces in prioritizing conservation efforts within their jurisdiction. Conservation assessments are used to inform legal protection at national and subnational levels. Ideally, conservation status assessments should be reviewed every 5 to 10 years. Tracking changes in extinction risk over time can inform the success of conservation actions and identify new species or ecosystems in need of conservation. Conservation status assessments are available to anyone who is interested in learning more about the 100,000 species and 7,000 ecosystems that have been assessed through the website NatureServe Explorer. This website provides global, national, and subnational ranks, in addition to supporting information and the justification for global level assessments. In addition to the global level assessments, subnational ranks, but not subnational assessments, are published on Explorer.